Welcome to our Global Supply Chain Experience presentation on Vietnam and Hong Kong. Our presentation will focus on cultural differences of everyday life and cultural differences of workplace environments in Vietnam and Hong Kong in comparison to those of the United States. Let us first begin by talking about a brief history of Vietnam and move forward to their cultural differences as it relates to tradition, food, transit, language, and religion. I believe two of the most distinctly critical history points to mention when talking about the history of Vietnam is the Vietnam War and the Doi Moi reforms. The Vietnam War was an unusually long and costly war fought by North Vietnam and its Soviet Union support against South Vietnam, the United States, and other anti-communist allies. The war was fought from November 1955 until April 1975, a U.S. involvement ending in April 1973, and responsible for the loss of millions of lives of both Vietnam and U.S. soldiers. For Vietnam, the war had ultimately devastated the country's infrastructure and economy, and reconstruction proceeded slowly. In 1976, Vietnam was unified as a country again and moved forward to strengthening its economy through later established the Doi Moi reforms. Under this broad free market policy put in place in 1986, the economy began to improve, boosted by oil export revenues and influx of foreign capital. The Vietnamese culture credits much of its military combat success of the Vietnam War to an elaborate network of connecting underground system of tunnels called the Chu Chu Tunnels. Now, from a United States perspective, the effects of the Vietnam War proved to be quite different. As a nation, we spent more than $120 billion on the conflict in Vietnam from 1965 to 1973. This massive spending led to a widespread inflation intensified by worldwide oil crisis in 1973 and skyrocketing fuel prices. Psychologically, the effects of ran even deeper and had bitterly divided the nation as a whole. So while most citizens of Vietnam view the war as a great military accomplishment and successful triumph, we as most Americans are the total opposite and view it as a legacy of bitterness that killed many Americans and divided American citizens. Another distinctive cultural difference is the Vietnamese language, where each syllable has 6 different tones that can be used, tones that can change the definition of most words, making it difficult for non-native speakers to pick up or much less master the language. Now in the U.S., although a native language is English, there are many other languages that are spoken, ranging from Vietnamese to Korean to Italian. So we are definitely a country of diverse languages, whereas they are more similar in speech. Now probably the biggest cultural differences from a day-to-day perspective is transportation. While Vietnam is crowded with an overwhelming abundance of motorbikes and some very relaxed traffic laws, the United States has more open roads, diverse motor vehicles, and some very strict traffic laws. And now in terms of cultural workplace differences, one noticeable difference we discovered was although Vietnam is relaxed on certain safety aspects like PPE, we take as a high regard, their workers are very precise and detailed in every inch of their work ethics. So Vietnam is a very interesting country, but quite the contrast from the culture of the United States.
Rohan. Hello, my name is Rohan, or my Vietnamese name is Nghia, and I'm very happy to present to you about Vietnamese culture. And with the country with the 8th letter, and the population around 91 million, and the capital is Hanoi, and another city, also the old capital of the southern government before was Saigon. And the main culture of my country, you look a lot of motorbike here. That's the main transportation in my country. But also we have a lot of car and bus, and we have a lot of food. And if you visit to my country, I would like to suggest you the different kind of food. And I would suggest you should try pho, BXO, that's a noodle. You enjoy it with beef or chicken. I suggest you try with the wood, also BUN, this is a kind of noodle, also very famous, come from the center of Vietnam. And another kind of baguette, like in Vietnamese name we call bánh mì. That's it. I'm sure it better than McDonald's. And in our generation, when we grow up into 18, and if we don't have to go to the university, we have to join to the army. And before, about 20 years ago, anybody when we get 18, we have to join to the army. But nowadays, we are only take the education people to join to the army. And even for us, if we go to the army or not, it doesn't matter, because if after we join to university, we have to join to the military course for 1 month. And after that, we have some basic skill like using the AK-47 or how to claims. And after 18 months, you will go back to the daily life, and you can start your new job and you build up your dream. And nowadays in our country, on the way of development, and we would like to become the dragon of Asia in the future. And we have a lot of investment right now. And welcome to Vietnam. Enjoy and experience.
Hong Kong, which is literally translated as the Fragrant Harbor, is an autonomous territory on the south coast of China and is known for its skyline and naturally deep, beautiful harbor. With around 7.2 million people of various nationalities, Hong Kong is the #1 tourist attraction in the world. After being ruled by the British for 100 years, in 1997, the territory became a special administrative region of China with a high degree of autonomy, with the principle one country, two systems. There are many cultural similarities and differences here in Hong Kong. The population is generally considered sophisticated and very westernized. There were similar interests in Hong Kong that were similar to those in the States. Examples can be seen in movies and clothing. The Happy Valley Racecourse was also an example of the Western influence. There are also some differences here in Hong Kong, as can be seen in the body language. In Hong Kong, a stranger may stand close to you when talking or doing day-to-day activities. However, they are reserved and uncomfortable with actual body contact. It is frowned upon to hug or pat a stranger on the back. There is also a booming economy here in Hong Kong for many reasons. Since 2011, 150,000 businesses have started here in Hong Kong, second only to London. The internet speed in Hong Kong is over 10 times faster than that of the mainland, and it also has no censorship. Thanks to examples like this, foreign investment as a percentage of the GDP is growing in Hong Kong, even though it decreases in the mainland. This, along with the business-friendly banking policies and population that is at 90% online, this growth has also had a direct effect on all rent prices, which have rose an average of 30% higher than that of even New York. An aspect of differences in the workplace is that of feng shui, and it is taken very seriously here. It is frowned upon to attempt to even open an office in Hong Kong without hiring a consultant in feng shui. A feng shui professional advises on facilities, moving dates, opening dates, entrances, etc. The consultant would even position the furniture to be in harmony of that with cosmic forces. In all, Hong Kong is a very attractive place to open a business or even visit.